Welcome to The Human Spirit, the podcast that explores the depths of our resilience and the power of our stories. I'm your host, Alex.
And I'm Ben. It's so good to be with you all. Alex, I want to start with a feeling I think every single person listening knows all too well. That deep, bone-tired, soul-crushing feeling of wanting to quit.
Ah, yes, that moment where you've given everything you have, you've hit a wall, and the easy choice, the logical choice, seems to be to just stop, to walk away.
It happens in our careers, in our relationships, in our personal projects, in our health. The wall looks too high, the finish line is nowhere in sight, and you just think, what's the point? I can't do this anymore.
But some people don't stop. When faced with that same wall, they find a way to go over it, under it, around it, or brick by brick, right through it.
And those are the stories we're talking about for the next 2 hours. This isn't just a rah-rah motivational episode. We're going deep into the psychology and the spirit of endurance.
Our topic today, stories from people who never gave up. We'll look at the famous epics of resilience and the quiet, unseen battles, all to answer one question. How do they do it? And what can we learn from them?
First, we have to get our definition straight. When we say never gave up, I don't think we mean a mindless stubbornness.
That's such an important distinction. Never giving up doesn't mean I will do this one specific action in this one specific way forever, even if it's not working. That's not resilience. That's just hitting your head against a brick wall.
Exactly. We're talking about grit, a term popularized by psychologist Angela Duckworth. She defines it as a combination of passion and perseverance for long-term goals.
And a key part of that perseverance is adaptation. It's never giving up on the goal, but being completely flexible on the path to get there. The goal is, I will be a published author. The path might involve 100 rejections, a total rewrite, or self-publishing. Giving up would be, I'm not a writer. Resilience is, this draft didn't work, I'll write another.
It's also important to distinguish between a dip and a cul-de-sac. As Seth Godin says, a dip is a temporary hard part. It's the slump in the middle of a marathon, the confusing second act of a novel, the long, slow, unprofitable years of a startup. The dip is what weeds out the people who aren't serious. A cul-de-sac is a dead end. It's a path that literally goes nowhere.
And this is the paradox. True wisdom is having the grit to push through the dip, but also the courage to quit the cul-de-sac.
So the people we're celebrating today aren't the ones who just stubbornly stayed on a dead-end path. They're the ones who faced the dip so deep it looked like a canyon, and they found a way to build a bridge across it.
Let's talk about the big stories, the loud stories of perseverance that the whole world got to watch. The ones that are so famous they almost sound like myths.
And they're famous for a reason. They show us the outer limits of human endurance. I think we have to start with Nelson Mandela.
Absolutely. This isn't a story of achieving a goal in a year or two. This is a story of maintaining your spirit over decades.
Think about it. 27 years in prison. Most of that on Robben Island, doing hard labor. He's separated from his family, his movement, his life. He has every reason to become broken, bitter, or to simply give up on his ideal of a free South Africa.
But he didn't. He used that time. He learned the language of his oppressors, Afrikaans. He educated his fellow prisoners. He never, ever compromised on his core principles. He didn't just endure the prison, he transformed it into a university and a center of resistance.
When he finally walked free at 71, he wasn't a man broken by bitterness. He was a man whose spirit was so strong, he was able to lead his nation out of apartheid without a bloody civil war. That's not just not giving up on a goal, that's not giving up on humanity itself.
It's an almost superhuman level of perseverance. But let's look at a different kind of loud story. The creative struggle. My favorite example is J.K. Rowling.
A classic.
Because it's so relatable. She wasn't fighting a government. She was fighting indifference. She was a single mother, clinically depressed, living on benefits, writing in cafes to save on heating. She had an idea for a story.
And the wall she hit was rejection. 12 rejections. 12 times the publishing industry looked at Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone and said, no, this isn't good. This won't sell. Don't quit your day job.
Can you imagine getting that 12th no? How easy it would be to say, well, I tried, they're the experts, it must be a bad story. I'll just put it in a drawer.
But she didn't. She believed in the story more than she believed her critics. She had a why that was bigger than her own ego. It was the story that needed to be told. So she sent it out one more time.
And that one yes from Bloomsbury, from a small publisher who only agreed because the chairman's 8-year-old daughter read the first chapter and demanded the rest, that one yes changed her life and modern literature.
What these two stories show is that perseverance isn't one size fits all. For Mandela, it was decades of physical and spiritual endurance. For Rowling, it was the acute emotional endurance to believe in herself when no one else did.
The loud stories are inspiring, but for me, the ones that really get me are the quiet ones. The battles of perseverance that no one ever sees. There are no headlines, no biographies, no movies.
This is the marathon runner who finishes last, hours after the crowds have gone home, but finishes. This is the PhD student, 6 years into their research, whose every experiment has failed, but they know they're on the verge of a discovery.
I think about the immigrant family, the parents who come to a new country with nothing. They don't speak the language, they have no connections, they take menial jobs, working 16-hour days, saving every single penny.
And they face prejudice, they face confusion, they face this overwhelming sense of being an outsider. And they never give up, not for themselves, but so that 20 years later, their children can stand on a stage and receive a college diploma.
That is a 20-year act of perseverance. It's a quiet, unglamorous, daily sacrifice. There's no single dramatic wall. It's a million small, difficult steps.
Or think about the caregiver, the person taking care of a spouse with Alzheimer's, or a parent with a long-term illness, or a child with severe disabilities.
That's a kind of endurance, wow. It's not about achieving a goal. The finish line is often one of profound sadness. This is perseverance in the name of love and duty.
It's getting up every day when you are exhausted, emotionally drained, and often isolated, and choosing to provide care, to be patient, to be kind. It's never giving up on a person.
These quiet stories are all around us. The small business owner who uses their personal savings to make payroll. The artist who keeps creating even if they never sell a painting. The person in recovery who wakes up every single morning and makes the choice, just for today, not to relapse.
These stories don't have a clear victory in the way a book deal or an election does. The victory is the act of continuing. The victory is the endurance itself. So, this is the big question. We have these examples, from Mandela to the local caregiver. What do they have in common? Why do they keep going?
It's the mental and emotional toolkit. And I think the first, most important tool is a profound sense of purpose.
The why. It has to be. For Mandela, it was a free nation. For Rowling, it was the story. For the immigrant parents, it's their child's future. For the caregiver, it's love. Your why is your fuel. When the how becomes unbearable, your why pulls you through.
The second tool has to be what Dr. Carol Dweck calls a growth mindset.
This is fundamental. People with a fixed mindset believe their abilities are set in stone. When they fail, it's a verdict. I failed, therefore I'm a failure. They quit. But people with a growth mindset believe abilities can be developed. When they fail, it's not a verdict, it's feedback. I failed, therefore I need to learn something. I need to try a different strategy.
This is what separates stubbornness from grit. The stubborn person, fixed mindset, keeps hitting the wall. The gritty person says, okay, the wall is solid, let's find a ladder.
And a third tool, which is a bit of a paradox, grounded hope. It's also known as the Stockdale paradox, named after Admiral Jim Stockdale, who was a POW in Vietnam for over 7 years.
He said the ones who didn't make it were the optimists, the ones who said, we'll be out by Christmas. And then Christmas would come, and Christmas would go, and they'd die of a broken heart.
Stockdale's paradox is this: you must maintain unwavering faith that you will prevail in the end, regardless of the difficulties.
And at the same time, you must confront the most brutal facts of your current reality, whatever they might be.
It's not, this is fine. It's, this is horrible. This is the worst it's ever been, and I will find a way to get through it. It's that tension between acceptance and faith that creates unbreakable resilience.
We've heard epic stories and quiet ones. We've talked about purpose, growth, and grounded hope. And I think it could be easy to listen to all this and feel small, to think, I'm not Mandela, I'm not J.K. Rowling, I'm just me. And I want to quit my gym membership.
I know that feeling. But here's the secret. Never giving up is not one giant heroic decision. It is 1,000 tiny, everyday decisions.
It's not a marathon. It's one step, and then another step, and then another.
The people we talked about today didn't wake up and say, I am going to persevere for 27 years. They woke up and said, I am going to get through today.
That's the only thing that's ever required of any of us. You don't have to worry about the finish line. All you have to do is find the courage and the why to take the next step.
So, our call to action for you is simple. Whatever that wall is in your life, stop looking at the top of it. Just look at the brick right in front of you. What is the one small, simple next step you can take?
Write one email, read one page, go for a 5-minute walk, make one phone call. That's it.
Never giving up is just the long-term result of not giving up right now. Your story is being written in these small, daily acts of courage.
Thank you for joining us on The Human Spirit.
Be kind to yourselves, and just take that next step.